Good morning from Norman Church. I don't know who he was, but there's loads of signs around here saying Norman Church and then an arrow. It's the 1st of January 2023. Forgive the earbuds, by the way. They're in because I thought it might improve my audibility. So it's a bit of a test. I'm not a robot, and you can press one of the traffic lights in the picture that follows in order to test for that and ensure that you're not being hacked. I'm in the graveyard. I'm static today. And by the way, I'm a southerner, which explains the accent. And I'm in the graveyard at the moment of Norman Church. I did do one podcast from here before, earlier in the year. And I actually mentioned the fact that I don't feel comfortable sitting in churches. I mean, I don't feel comfortable sitting in them. I feel slightly more comfortable sitting outside them, even though I don't want to happen to me what happened to Patrick Troughton, Doctor Who, in the grounds of that church in Putney, where the spire came off and skewered him in The Omen. I think that might be a bit melodramatic, but you get the idea. It's not something I relish. So it's New Year's Day, and I spent a quiet one last night. I was in bed by 11:30. I mean, I can't be arsed with it all. Do you know what I mean? So I was asleep, didn't even see it in. And that kind of leads me to what I was going to talk about today. Static, because I'm not going to move around. I'm just going to stay stuck here outside Norman Church. And that's that a couple of days ago, I went up to that London with the wife, give her an airing, and we were on a high-speed train from Ashford to Stratford, and a group of lads got on, and they were all doing this. I think there were about 7 of them, 6 or 7 of them, and they were all talking in that weird sort of language that lads talk in. You know what I mean? And it's also probably not that. It's very naff, but it was all F this and F that. You couldn't move in there for Fs. And and then it sort of progressed on to the gay stuff. And yeah, I know. And it was all, he's gay, he's got AIDS and all this. And it was all very loud and very raucous and very laughter. And I nudged the wife and I said to her, if it carries on like that, I think I'm going to have to say something, because it was a very packed train, The elderly were on it, including me, and children. It just wasn't very nice. So I thought, shall I say something? Shall I not? Anyway, and then I thought not, because it reminded me that back in 1976, when I was 17/18 in June of that year, I used to like going to Paris, of all places, with my bestie, Carol, and my then boyfriend, Chris. And we, for some bizarre reason, we didn't have any money. And I used to phone Carol up on a Friday morning and say to her, I'm bored, what should we do? I said, let's go to Paris tonight. So she said, all right. So she'd get the train up to London, and we go to Victoria to get the night train. And like I said, I don't know where we got the money from, but we did. And it was an all-night jobby. And you used to get the night train from Victoria, go down to Newhaven, get the ferry to Dieppe, get the train from Dieppe to Paris, and arrive in Paris at around about 7:30 in the morning, something like that. And we used to stay in this cheap hotel in the Latin Quarter called the Hotel Moderne, which was anything but. I mean, even the cockroaches had moved out of there. It was pretty desperate, but it was fun, And I only mention this because we did a number of these trips. We did Hastings, because we didn't live in Hastings then. And I used to take this little Philips cassette recorder, and I recorded hours worth of us getting drunk, walking around Paris, walking about wherever it was we were visiting, and and commenting and being generally raucous for the time, because it was punk. Do you know what I mean? And those tapes survive, but they are deeply embarrassing. don't worry, you're never going to hear them on here. But coming back to today, I suddenly thought that all the stuff that I used to do back then to outrage people, which mainly consisted of I don't think we swore an awful lot, even though it was punky, but we did used to do that. Up the train window as we went over level crossings, that type of thing, It was all pretty innocuous, really. But I thought, if I say something to these lads, I'm just going to turn into the sort of person that I used to outrage when I was a teenager. So I thought, I'll let them get on with it. They weren't, I didn't get the feeling they were evil or malevolent in any way. It was just boyish, rather silly, rather immature stuff that you do, which I did, which quite frankly I'm still doing. Who else would make a Fanny Craddock recipe, for example, in their kitchen like I did the other night? So I didn't say anything, and they got off at Stratford Westfield and went round there to join the thousands of other young lads who were also accusing each other of being bummer boys and gay, and no doubt the F word was expressed liberally throughout the day. And here am I, sitting in a graveyard, wearing a cap. But I am wearing a Napajuri top, so that's something. And I'm contemplating making more Fanny Craddock recipes before I end up here. And so I suppose you could say, I think I made the right choice in not being outraged and not going up to the lads and saying, "Oi, cut that out! Oi!" And, all street-like. And I should stick to sitting in graveyards, making stupid videos, and contemplating making Fanny's fig and Brussels sprout ring, which is calling to me. I think that's for the future, though. For this year, I'm glad to see the back of 2022. It was a shite year for me, losing my Cecil a couple of days before Christmas. So I'm hoping for better things this year, and I hope for better things for you. And have a very happy new year. And I doff my cap in your bald head. I doff my cap in your general direction. Have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.